Welcome back to the PokerStrategy.com TSL number 3, the final game of the day, series number 4. We're here in game number 3, tied 1-1, moving over to Shakura's Plateau. In the top left, the Drone King himself, Liquid Ret. You do not want to let this guy power up. It has bad results. His opponent in the bottom right, Dignitas.NaNiwa, showed a great composition in game number 1, fell apart a little bit in game number 2. Let's see how he takes it in game number 3.
This is a pretty heavy macro map. Shakura's Plateau, of course, does have a lot of expansions. Some of the expansions are extremely exposed, though, so it can be difficult to hold on to those easily. But I can't believe that just how good the game's been. I just took a look at the time. Apparently, we've been casting for like 3 to 4 hours. Did not even realize it just because of how awesome the games have been. We've seen so many macro-style games. Very few games actually ending up under the 20-minute mark. So a very legendary game. And just for the people who are just tuning in, as well as people watching this on the YouTube channel, make sure to tune in. I know I just said this, but you do not want to miss the matches tomorrow. I don't think you can hype those up anymore. I'm super excited for the little one versus Nada especially. Seriously. And I'm pretty sure the world's just going to implode on that. But for now, we have to finish out this series. And yeah, the map has been modified, so they are going to be spawning super far away from each other, which Ret is going to be super pleased about.
And we see, once again, the advantage NaNiwa is going to have in this map as opposed to game number 2 on Metalopolis. Forge, Fast, Expand, very strong here if you know the timings, as NaNiwa obviously does. You don't need to make the Forge, but going in, he sees that Ret's not doing any shenanigans. He's making the spawning pool. Forge is going to be necessary for him to block in. And I say this favors NaNiwa because in game number 2, he did the very slow variation of the Fast Expand, where you get out a bunch of sentries, do the standard 3-gate expansion, and it really didn't work out for him, whereas he was a lot closer in the supply and a lot closer in the income when he was able to just do a Forge Fast Expand. And looks like Ret is not even going to fool around. He's going to do a Brood War style and take his natural at his third base, then make Zerglings and kill the probe and take his third base at his natural.
Yeah, you mentioned that this is a Brood War style of play, which is very true. Don't see it as much in StarCraft 2, so I'm sure that NaNiwa is prepared for it, and it's not something that'll take him by complete surprise. But if he is unfortunate enough to not realize how quickly this third base is up, it could cause him a lot of trouble. You can see the Queen and some Zerglings should be on the way here momentarily. Yes, they are going to be cleaning out that natural. The probe, though, is on the move. Is he going to scout the third base? I'm not sure if he actually spotted a drone moving down there. He hasn't seen the hatchery itself, though. So the timing of the NaNiwa's expansion is standard, though. I mean, the Overlord's going to scout the cannon timing, the gateway, and everything else is going to be standard here on the Protoss end. And we'll see if we have a repeat of game number 1, where NaNiwa was able to defend perfectly the whole time and then move out with a lot of Stalkers. I don't know if we've seen a single Colossus from NaNiwa in any of these games. And also, we didn't see one basically as much in our very first series in that TVP. So I guess Colossus may be on their deathbed while players are finally learning how to utilize gateway units to their fullest potential.
Yeah, seriously, they're out of style. But as you mentioned, the probe did see the drone moving down the ramp at Ret's natural, his real natural, not his third base. But I'm not sure if he saw it. It looks like he's completely not aware of it, as he's now bringing that probe into the main base, and really still hasn't seen that hatchery. So if he hasn't seen it, he may be fearful, oh, Ret's taking a really late second base. The difference in this game, as opposed to game number 1, is that NaNiwa had an easy third to take, so he could easily defend drops while defending all 3 bases. But in this game, like, look at how the map is laid out. Where does he take his third base? Does he take it at top right, stretching himself northward where he can be easily flanked? Does he take it at 6 o'clock where he can't get back to defend? Or does he take the inside kind of pocket expansion just beside the 6 o'clock one? All bad answers, but he's got to pick one of them, and it's not as comfortable as Tal'Darim Altar.
And I also feel like he doesn't know about that third base because there is a second photon cannon on the way. 150 minerals this early in the game is something you do not want to be spending unless you absolutely know that you need it. I mean, it is a little bit safer of a play style, but this is just going to play into Ret's favor, the fact that there is already a second cannon there. And Ret is just now going to be grabbing his first gas there. I believe he's only mined 100 gas so far. Production tab shows, spoiler alert, 6 drones on the way, and it just macroing up again. So he already has 34 drones, and once he's producing off of these, getting a Queen clean up at every one of his expansions, then I feel like he will do the exact same thing, just now grabbing his second gas. So just expect to see more and more drones out of him, as NaNiwa is throwing down 3 gateways, which is very easy to produce off of 4 gateways total off of this 2 base, and he hasn't actually grabbed his double gas at his expansion quite yet. So we'll see what he plans to do with this extra additional minerals, actually throwing down 4 gateways in the main. So once again, looking to rely just on gateway units.
Yeah, there's a style where you go 6 gateways. That's a very, very strong attack after a Forge Fast expansion, which probably could punish Red and his very drone-heavy style. There's an all-in style where you go 7 gateways, which is that much stronger, but if it doesn't work, you're basically screwed. It looks like NaNiwa is playing a little bit safer. He's just doing 5 gateways. I believe he's probably going to add in a robotics once he takes his second gas, starts mining, or not his second gas, his gas is at his natural base. Now finishing warp gates, going to turn all of them into warp gates, and he's going to begin to crank out a lot of units as he's only got 3 sentries out on the field. Red, meanwhile, brings in the Overlord and scouts all these warp gates, so he should be aware of the situation at hand.
Now his Hydralisk, or his layer rather, is just now finishing, which means he could get a Hydrogen if he needs it. NaNiwa putting a very crucial proxy pylon in the center. That means he can warp units on the left side of that little lake there and continue reinforcing that, also potentially getting flanks. And another pylon on the further left side, as he is well aware of the expansion on the left side. He definitely wants to try and punish Red here, and Red scrambling to get the units out, as Zerg usually do once a Protoss pushes out like this. He is working on that burrow for the roaches, as well as 6 roaches on the way. Almost losing 3 roaches here. Force fields could trap these 3 roaches on the left side if he is not careful. Red able to save every single roach there, and so can Red produce enough units here to actually guard this, as a lot of drones are going to be vulnerable here. The Queen could very well go down, and that pylon is going to allow reinforcements immediately for NaNiwa.
Oh, force field blocking the escaping drones. They completely get shut down, and Red trying to run them back, but what can he do? He's going for a counterattack. There's 2 cannons. NaNiwa has warp gates, so he can reinforce very easily at his main base if he's not cooling down at that time. He has units available in his warp gates. Let's see if Red attacks here, and let's see how NaNiwa responds. NaNiwa is not reinforcing his main army, so he could reinforce this very easily. Waiting to see, he's only bringing in 1 sentry and now bringing in a bunch of zealots, so able to deflect that attack, and Red forced to give up his natural, or not his natural, his third base, excuse me, for free. And NaNiwa is pressing the attack now. Looks like he wants to continue to get aggressive, but this is a little bit scary. A lot of roaches coming for Red, and he's bringing his reinforcing roaches back from the attack at NaNiwa's natural. NaNiwa on a full retreat. I don't know if he's anywhere to run. The sentry gets sniped. That is so huge. There's no force fields left. Red can easily move forward and kill all these units.
Thankfully for Red, his micro is insane there. Instead of just sitting there and attack moving, he was running his roaches constantly, basically charging the stalkers and preventing them from being able to do their full amount of damage, and running against them right now. NaNiwa trying to desperately save a handful of stalkers, only saves 3 right there. The proxy pylon, of course, going to go down once Red knows that it is there. And so Red, while he does have a lot of roaches, does not have his third base, so now he is tied up as far as the bases are concerned. Looking at the worker count, Red losing his nice worker advantage. He is down 3 workers now. Of course, he is making more workers, as Red tends to do, and so he's also going to be re-grabbing that third base. So it looks like he may try and kill these rocks.
Look at where the roaches are heading. Gonna kill the destructible rocks. NaNiwa has no vision of his back rocks, but what is this? He's actually bringing units back to kill his... How does he know? How does NaNiwa know that this is happening? Oh my god. Or does he know? Did he just have a theory? Now moving his army around, I'm really just watching his vision, looking where he's looking. He does not have vision. Oh, he does have vision of the rocks, but he's not looking there right now. If he catches wind of this, this is going to be insane. He's looking there. He's bringing his units back. Oh my god, how did he know?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Red's got to try and move in here. The Overlord dumping creep just to help those units as quickly as possible, although he is going to run up here. Force field needs to be used to split the army in half. That's exactly what we just saw. A lot of these zealots are going to be able to do a lot of damage. Most of the roaches on the low ground not going to be able to do anything. Red burrowing there, albeit a little bit slow. He does not have the roach movement underground upgrade completed. It is nearly here, though, and once he gets it, he will be able to bust up this ramp, potentially going to get a nice surround on this army. So it's got to come down to, can Red do an insane amount of damage here with these roaches? The upgrade just about to finish here, although there is now an observer here to spot it just in time, and the force fields are going to allow these roaches not to unburrow, and there goes the unburrow right now. Is this going to be enough, though, as NaNiwa could not be in a better position to deal with this, with having the observer there? The roaches cannot get away. This is a lot of roaches, though. More reinforcing roaches trying to jump. They are just rallied all the way down to this location. This battle is extremely close.
I can't believe he actually broke through that. It looked like a great position for NaNiwa, but trying to reinforce with gateway units against roaches, not good. And the key thing is Red is continuing to reinforce this attack. He's bringing his units all the way down to the south. He's burrowing them under force fields and bringing them in. NaNiwa trying to do Warcraft 3 micro. It's working out very well. He's got his damage stalkers in the back. Looks like he's going to deal with the first couple of roaches. Immortal getting targeted. Immortal down to 5 HP. Immortal gets taken out. Now Rhett going to town on the probe line. Taking out a lot of probe. Stalkers still alive. Oh my god, I think NaNiwa may hold it. He's continuing to warp in Zealots now, and Rhett forced to retreat. That was a heart-stopping moment. Looks like NaNiwa has successfully defended, but meanwhile Rhett has set up his third base yet again.
I feel like Rhett may have once again got stuck on roaches for a little too long. Look at this metabolic boost, which is the Zergling speed upgrade just starting. And if he would have reinforced this with Zerglings earlier, I think it would have been okay, simply because he was going against, once again, Mass Stalker with a couple of Immortals mixed in, which both of those units do additional damage versus just those roaches. So with a little bit of that micro, as you mentioned, he was able to hold that off. Just looking at the units lost tab, that is a very close amount of units lost there. So neither player got completely devastated, but Rhett is able to hold on to that third base still, and he doesn't have a huge drone advantage, but just a slight advantage, which he would like more at this point in the game. He is making an Overseer somewhere to see exactly what his opponent is going to be doing. But losing, it looks like 3 to 4 Overlords down here in the bottom center, and that's not going to be good for Rhett. It is supply blocking him.
Yeah, NaNiwa was very smart there. He targeted the faraway Overlords first manually, and then dealt with the close ones. Very nice play there. Rhett is ahead in the supply, 127 versus 113, but roaches have a very high supply to cost ratio, so you can max out only on roaches very quickly, and it's not that strong of an army compared to a similar supply as, Protoss army. Now NaNiwa trying to push up the back ramp. Rhett is jamming that shut. Looks like he's not going to press the issue, just setting up a pylon. Probably wants to take his third base down there. Rhett gives it up completely, just needs more time to reinforce his third base, reinforce his army so he can deal with this army that's pushing up down the back ramp.
And once again, Rhett still having a lot of roaches here. He needs to make sure to get out some more Hydras against his army. There is no blink. Here comes the attack on the left side, though. The arc is going to be good for Rhett, but Force Field's going to split the army in half. Every unit is now shooting, though. Is this going to be enough for Rhett to hold? I don't think so. It's not even going to be close. Drones are going to have to transfer out of there. Those drones look like they will escape, though, and Rhett is scrambling to get units. He does have a bunch of Hydras now, which is exactly what he needs versus this army composition, but looking at the army size, it is about to favor the Protoss if this battle does not go into Rhett's favor. This army is backed against the wall, though, not really being able to retreat here. The Hydra's doing full potential damage. Most of the Immortals haven't been taken out except for one, and it looks like, actually, this battle is still extremely close, but Rhett is going to be able to hold this here, as there is going to be more reinforcing units on the way. He did snipe the Immortal, but does he have anything else on the way? He does only have 4 more Hydras on the field, so he may once again lose his hatchery, which would be devastating.
Yeah, and I guess the rumors are true. Hydras are pretty good against gateway units. I'm really surprised that Rhett was able to hold that. Meanwhile, NaNiwa has not set up an expansion at 6 o'clock. Meanwhile, just using that pylon to continue to warp in reinforcements. He's being very active with his observer, manually moving it forward so he can catch exactly what does Rhett have reinforcing this army. Rhett now making a few roaches to back up his army. He needs that nice ratio of roaches to Hydras, and there goes the 6 o'clock expansion for NaNiwa, so he is not all in. By any sense of the word. Now moving forward, the Immortal getting targeted immediately by the Hydras. Hydras trying to deal with these gateway units. I feel like there is enough Stalkers that NaNiwa is going to be able to move forward and crush Rhett. Moving forward, he's isolated him. He's got access to his ramp. He doesn't even need to continue to attack. He's got complete map control. Rhett is trying to set up another third base at the pocket expansion, 12 o'clock pocket, but I think he's got a significant deficit to overcome here in game number 3.
Yeah, Rhett is trying to get that third base, but right now, just looking at the supply counts, 84 for a Zerg player, 113 for a Protoss, and he does not have a drone advantage anymore. So NaNiwa is going to happily go back home, just setting up a few static defenses here on his third base, but he's going to be tied with Rhett on expansion, so I think the only thing Rhett could probably do is try and take a risk and double Expo just to keep himself in this game, but he got the Hydralist a little bit too late, losing that third base this late into the game. I mean, we're almost at 20 minutes, and both players are just now getting their third bases, and so that is not a good situation for a Zerg player. NaNiwa is going to be in good shape with the +1 attack. I mean, Rhett has +1 attack as well, but the roaches are just not paying for themselves at all. We haven't seen Mutalisk utilized at all. The Zergling count has been too low this entire game. I mean, right now he doesn't have a single Zergling. Plus, it may be too late because there's so many Zealots now in NaNiwa's army. So, really, I mean, NaNiwa's in really good shape after killing that expansion, and his unit combination is good. Once again, I don't think there's any sort of Colossus tech at all. Instead, just getting a Templar Archives right now.
getting a Twilight Candle, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, right,
But,
yeah.
NaNiwa just doesn't have the time or the economy to tech up the Colossi. It looks like he's trying to cannon off his 6 o'clock expansion the left side and wants to move his focal point back to his natural choke. For a long time he was moving through the 6 o'clock expansion, and you could say his choke was actually at the 6 o'clock ramp, the western ramp. But now looks like he wants to move that forward, breaking down that warp gate. Ret, unfortunately, trying to take 3 o'clock's, top right's natural. Not going to work out too well for him here, as NaNiwa has broken through that front door and made that his focal point. He's moving out with a big army. I don't know if Ret can hold this.
I really am doubting that he can at this point. It is 111 supply to 144, and it looks like he's going to be taking out these destructible rocks right now, which means that this expansion just now getting saturated with drones on the minerals. Gas isn't even completed yet. It is going to come down to this last battle, I think, but the army size is so heavily favoring the Protoss. His unit combination is perfect as well, so here comes right now. Wants to take a bite at that, but realizes I can't even save the hatchery if I ran in there right now anyways. So now Ret is down to 2 bases, only mining off 1, and he does have that spire completed, but I just don't think any amount of Mutilis off of 2 base is going to be enough to kill this army of NaNiwa. So this very well could be the last deciding battle in this game. NaNiwa wants to take a bite out of here and try and go up the ramp. I mean, Ret's army is looking okay, but it's not enough to engage us directly. It's just going to be whenever NaNiwa decides to move in there, I think, is when this game will end.
Looks like Ret is deciding to take a stand. He wants to move forward with Roach Hydra. Force field's going down, not that effective as the majority of units still able to shoot there. But NaNiwa just has so many units. He's trying to block the retreat there with some force fields, but Ret able to retreat. The supply showing 65 versus 142 in favor of the Protoss NaNiwa. Ret trying to press the issue, moving forward with a few Hydras. Really nice micro. But the issue here is NaNiwa has 3 established bases. He's complete map control, blinking forward to isolate the units, putting up force field to stop the retreat, and there's a GG! Oh my god, Liquid Ret eliminated from TSL number 3. Dignitas.NaNiwa doing it in game number 3, and he's going to move on to the round of 16 to take on Goody. We're going to have 2 Protoss vs. Terran monster matches in the round of 16 to look forward to. That's going to be in the form of Dignitas.NaNiwa versus ESC Goody, and Millennium Adele Scott taking on FXO QXC. So a sick day of results today.
Yeah, I mean, at least 3 major upsets there in this tournament. I don't think anyone expected, former GSL champions to drop 4. Like crazy. Yeah, absolutely. So crazy amount of games today. Someone tweeted me saying they voted correctly on every matchup. I don't know how anyone could have predicted that. And so yeah, the games tomorrow, I know we've said this a lot, but that is because it definitely deserves it. Definitely check it out. It's going to be Idra versus Cruncher, Cass versus Heypro, Mondragon versus Zrax, Nada versus the Little One. No, we're not in a dream state. That is actually the matches, and I cannot wait for that. So do not miss that one, guys.
Yeah, that is going to be a big one. And after that, the round of 32 is going to be over. All the puzzle pieces are going to be complete for the round of 16, and we can begin to look forward for those matches. And there are some sick matches if you go ahead and look at the bracket and piece it together. There's some big matches coming up, but we don't want to look that far. Just focusing on the games tomorrow. I'm definitely going to be watching it. And Husky, man, that's it. That's our time together.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to hopefully casting with you in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, make sure to check out Team Liquid on Twitter, which is just twitter.com/TeamLiquidNet, and also on YouTube, which is youtube.com/TeamLiquidNet. All one word, no periods or any crazy shenanigans like that. And also make sure to sign up for that raffle. It's just TeamLiquid.net/raffle. It's only, unfortunately, available for people outside of the United States. That's just kind of how it is, though. But you basically sign up and you're automatically enrolled there. And that is a reward that I would be extremely jealous of. You get to hang out in Korea and do all sorts of stuff with Tasteless and, go to the GSL and meet everyone over there. So a dream vacation for me, at least. So definitely go sign up for that. That is all I've got. These games were insane. I will be watching the VODs as soon as they are posted, as I think players can learn a lot from the gateway usage in all of these series that we saw. So that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Chill, you can sign us out, but make sure to tune in tomorrow, guys.
So that's Husky. You can always find him, correct me if I'm wrong, youtube.com/HuskyStarcraft, as well as twitter.com/HuskyStarcraft. And I mean, that's the TSL. You guys should tune in tomorrow. We're going to complete the round of 32, and it's always great having bring our viewership up little by little to reach this pinnacle. So it's always fun to cast in front of the viewers, and I'll definitely be watching tomorrow. So try to tune in for that. If not, check out the VODs. And that's going to be it for us today. Thanks for watching.